Hi, in yesterday's session, or the last session, we did continuous line, introduced continuous line to you. I said I was going to push on with that, but actually what I want to do is come back to that, so we'll do that in probably the next session. But what I want to do is try something probably a bit more basic, but also something that you can perhaps do more with children and the whole family can try. It's not aimed at children, but it's certainly something they could enjoy. Somebody posted on Facebook yesterday, they thought it was a great idea and they really liked it, but they said they couldn't even draw a stick man or something along those lines. So I thought, we'll look at stick men. Okay, now something I've done in lots of different groups to one, it's something I think other people do, and there's different versions you can probably find all over the place. And I know in animation they use it a lot, so although it's a simple process, it's something that is the basis of a lot of more complex drawings. Okay, so what we're going to do is draw a basic stick man and then go from there. Okay, so we are going to draw a stick man. Okay, now the basic stick man I think everyone can draw. Has a body, legs, arms and a head. Okay, that is a stick man. I think everybody can draw that. And if we go back over the early exercise, we can all doodle, and we've already done a bit of continuous line drawing, but this is a basic drawing of a stick man. Now what we're going to do is take this basic stick man and add a couple of really simple, or make a couple of really simple changes to him, so that we can do a bit more with him, because he's a bit dull at this point. So first of all, one thing we can do is we can add a sort of body. Okay, you can add a square one or an oval one, it's up to you, or a triangular one or whatever. You can add a sort of shape of a body. Okay, and then we're going to add a neck and a head, limbs, like so. So already we've got something which is a bit more expressive and there's a bit more to it. Now what we want to do on top of that, and I'll perhaps do it with this one, is we work with the neck and the head, and this time we add a bit of flex to the limbs, so you can almost imagine a join, so it's like an elbow. Okay, and then the same with the knees and the same with the legs. Well, it's not really well drawn, but you see the point. And then on top of that, you can add an eye, a nose and a mouth, and if that's from the side, you can add a nose and an eye. So you can see he's looking in a certain direction. Okay, now I want you to now practice that. So take your basic stick man, or person, woman, or whatever, add the bodies, the limbs, and a basic expression. You saw the speed I drew it. Don't spend too long on it. Now, then I want you to take that, practice that, work on him or her, and get into the point where you're happy with that stick man, because then we're going to make that person do a load of things. Right, as you can see, I've drawn 3 stick men. Okay, we've got a static one, a walking one, and a running one. Obviously, I've drawn them fairly large, but you could draw something that big if you wanted. It doesn't have to be particularly large. Okay, so that's about an inch. That's about whatever. Now you can see the static one, obviously quite still, limbs sort of relaxed, etc., and just looking straight forward. Now we can see by adding a few minor changes, kind of turning the body as such, but it's still the same shape. Adding a bit more bend to the limbs. Taking out one eye and just putting the mouth and the nose from the side, you can start to see it looks like somebody's walking, having a stroll. Again, if we push that further, so this time the body's bent, the arms got more dynamic, the knees lifted, again flexing more at the joints, so that instead of like a sort of subtle bend, there's a sort of more of an angle there. You can kind of see how the person runs. And then you can add a bit of speed, and suddenly you've added animation to it, and maybe a bit of sweat because he's worried because he's going to miss the bus or something. But you can see how you can take a static stick man from that, make it into give it a bit more life features, then turn it round into walking and into running. So please practice that now, and I'll do some other drawings which I'll do on a time lapse, and then when we finish those, we'll discuss those as well, and then I'll set up a couple of tasks that you can try and get on with. Okay, so I took my basic stick man, made him run. We've done that one before, but you can see the principle there. Then put a line here, so you add a bit of context and drew a body, added some sort of, what do you call it, air tank, added a few bubbles, and you can see the person's scuba diving, whatever. You can kind of tell. This one's swimming, but it doesn't look like he's a very good swimmer. And also, just adding a bit of like a fin, again, it animates it and gives a bit more drama or story. Again, we're trying to add a bike. So, I mean, the limbs are probably drawn not particularly well, but you can just see with these very quick, loose lines, a bit like the doodle. There's no real detail, but you can start to feel the person is, again, moving forward. And we don't have to draw anything particularly complex to get that feeling of something happening. And finally, we added two people, and the idea is the dancing, and just the limbs again add a bit of context, so they're touching whatever. But you can start to see you can take this person and you can also do all sorts of things with them and start to get them into different situations and add a bit of life drama and basically play with the character you've created. So now I'd like you to do this and experiment with other things like, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but like skiing, bobsleighing, whatever, and see how you can get away with adding as few lines as possible, but thinking of the way the body is. And even if you have to, you might say to someone else in your family, if you're all at home at the moment, get them to sort of pose and then sort of almost do a sort of portrait or picture of them in that position, so you can see what the limbs look like. But keep the line simple, draw quickly, keep it a basic stick man. Okay, right. What we've done here is we've put the stick people in a room, okay, by simply creating a box. You can add side walls if you want, but I wouldn't worry about that, just adds a bit of perspective. Now, I've just drawn, for some reason I've drawn a sort of slightly drunken party, but anyway, I don't know, that's perhaps how I'm feeling. But you've got a guy here, start over here, you've got people over here dancing, okay? This guy's, I'm trying to, with his face, you can see he's angry. Now, I think he's looking at them because he's jealous. This person's just drunk and making a complete mess and spilling wine, where somebody else is asleep. Now, whether it's because it's a boring party or whatever, I'll leave it up to you. But what we're trying to add is, with our basic lines, we're adding emotion, okay? So emotion to the faces. We're trying to think, we're experimenting to see which way they look and how we play with the eyes and the nose and the mouth, etc. So we get them to look like they're feeling something. Our imagination will be the story. So I'm not asking you to do a party, but you could do something else. So you could do people on the moon, or walking around, or whatever. I don't know. I'll leave that up to you, because this is what I want you to do next. So you want to add emotion, imagination, and then a bit of a story. So when you work on this yourselves, whether it's in a room, think of the story, what's going on, and just add more and more characters. When I've done this in groups, we end up with like filling the room, and we keep adding more and more people, and with different things in their minds or whatever. So the whole point is a drama. So what I hope you've seen is you can take a basic stick man, make him more animated by making these slight adjustments to his shape, and then we can put him into a story, or her into a story, and make it into something which your imagination can run away with. So please now go away and do that, and next time we'll pick up Stickman again in another session, but in the meantime have fun drawing and see what you can do. And please post stuff if you want to. You can either email me on the links or post on the page itself, again using the links, and I'll try and comment if I can, or if you want me to. Anyway, take care, bye.